Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my friends, my name is Jedley, and you are listening to Reading with Your Kids, broadcasting from the vibrant and book-loving neighborhood of Reedville in Boston, Massachusetts. This is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. Our mission is to help families grow stronger, closer, and kinder through the magic of reading together. And we're thrilled to have you with us on that journey. Help us spread the joy by sharing this podcast with the people you love. Tell your kids, teachers, school librarians, and neighbors that they can find us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Player FM, Audible. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Two wonderful guests for you today. First up, Ali Gilkeson is returning to Reading with Your Kids. As a New York Times bestselling author, she is back to celebrate Keeping the Light, her brand new picture book. And later in the show, Marie O'Connor is joining us from Australia, celebrating her debut middle grade novel called Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines. Before we invite our guests into the studio, I would love to invite you to visit a very special website. It's clownswithoutborders.org. Clownswithoutborders.org. This is a group that I absolutely adore. I am part of Clowns Without Borders, and I had the honor of being part of the 2023 tour of El Salvador. I had so much fun joining with artists from all over the world to bring a smile to people who really needed it and really appreciated it too. And we would love for you to join us as a monthly Joy Maker. Joy Makers, they're a family of people just like you who love to laugh and make other people feel good. So please take a moment and visit clownswithoutborders.org and consider joining me as a Joy Maker. When our guest was here last, she was celebrating her debut children's book. Now she is returning as a New York Times best-selling author. Please welcome back to the show the author of the new book, Keeping the Light, Ali Gilkeson. Hey, Ali, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Delighted to have you back on. I was so excited for you when I got the pitch from your publicist and read that My Lighthouse became a New York Times best-selling children's book.
Yeah. It's where it's probably with Lee Wildish. The artist is just so incredible. He's so good, and the fact that he was on board doing his thing was just amazing. I felt so honored to be working with him. He was phenomenal.
Yeah. And I asked this, and I don't know if I asked you this last time, was it difficult for you to kind of let your illustrator tell that part of your story?
Normally, I would have said yes at the start when I was holding the story, because it was a little bit of a different process for me because I had the story sort of written and ready to go. A lot of the time with authors, they will work with illustrators as they're crafting their story. And so for me, I'm going, well, I've got this story and I want it to look how I thought it was going to look. And so when my publisher was like, hey, there's an illustrator called Lee Wildish, he had actually caught a hold of the story somehow and was like, I would love to do this. And then I started seeing his some of his samples, and I'm like, oh, this guy's brilliant. So for him, I really trusted him. I'm like, you know what you're going to do. Actually, the only little sticky part that we came across was they wanted to do like open eyes, like proper eyes. And I'm like, no, I just want dotted eyes. It's just, I was just super passionate about it. For me, it was a little bit more whimsical and just a style type of thing. But that was really it. Anything else. And he was so good at listening to my ideas and even bringing some ideas himself. It was just, he was so easy to work with. And by the time he was bringing like some samples through, I was like, oh, he's got this, you know. I think because he's from the UK as well, our humors are very similar. So it worked out great.
That's fantastic. I'll tell you another story before we jump in and start talking about keeping the light. We have a neighbor, and every once in a while they will ask us to take care of their 2-year-old, and who is great. And he has this big full head of curly hair, and it's just enormous right now.
Looks like a microphone.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So he was over the house, and we're kind of hanging out, and we had done the running this way and looking at the squirrels and all that stuff. And I said, well, let me read you a story. And I pulled out my Lighthouse, and I was delighted to read and be reminded that the main character in my Lighthouse is Finn, because that's what our neighbor's name is.
No way!
I said, look, Finny, look at you. You're in the sea of the star of the book.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. Such a great name.
Yeah. So tell us what's going on with Finn and keeping the light.
So in keeping the light, Finn decides that he is a bit of an expert on lights, considering he has lived under one his entire life. And the sort of the thing of the story is that his dad is often going around switching lights off around the house, saying about saving electricity and saving money. And Finn thinks, well, if we just turn the light off at the top of the house, that's going to save a ton of money and, help the planet overall. And it's really, Finn decides to take control of the lighthouse, and he dresses for the part. And he's like, yeah, I can just judge these boats coming in and out. If they deserve the light, we'll keep it on. And if they don't, we'll turn it off. Easy, no problem. We'll be saving money in no time. And so when his dad, he nips down to the wee local shop, and Finn's doing his thing. And it goes through, different characters that are coming through on their boats, and what Finn decides, do they deserve light? Do they not? And of course then his dad arrives back, and he thinks his dad's going to be super proud. And it's just the big lesson of going, it doesn't matter who people are, where they're from, what they've done. We keep our light shining at all times. And it's not up to us to judge anyone. We're just here to reflect the light and shine the light, and to keep it on at all times. And so that's really the whole essence of the story, and big life lessons for Finn for sure. But it's done again, like I said, Lee Wildish has illustrated it beautifully, and he's done a great job.
Yeah, I love that they kept the partnership together.
Yes, it really did. Because when they said they wanted a second book, I was like, oh well, I wouldn't really want to do it without Lee. And they said, oh, I'm not sure if it's quite hard to get a illustrator to commit to an author. But then Lee was like, yep, I'm doing it. Let's go. So yeah, it was great. It went really well.
That's great. Now, have you had a chance to meet Lee?
Just virtually. Just virtually. Yes, he's in England, and so anytime we're going over, that most of our time is spent obviously in Ireland, soaking up with all the family and the parents. So hopefully one day soon I can get him over here to Nashville.
Yes.
Or maybe we'll need to meet in New York. Who knows?
I was telling Ali before we hit record that my beautiful wife and I took a tour of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and we flew into to London, and wow, that was an experience running through that airport.
Was it Heathrow?
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it?
But they were nice to me for the most part, because I was using a cane, and they saw that and they go, "Oh, come on, we got some shortcuts for you."
That's good. It's so funny coming into Dublin. It's so stress free. It's wonderful. They're just like, "Come on in here. Welcome to the country. Where you? Oh, it doesn't matter where you're heading. Come on ahead. Have a good time."
Yeah, we didn't fly in or out of Dublin, but we flew out of Shannon, which was fantastic. We thought we were late. We go in the airport and there's no one there, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, is this closed?" And
they're like, "Jed, over here, this way."
Yeah, and we're sitting down, and the plane comes out, and hey, can you help us push the plane out a little bit? And,
yeah, sounds about right.
But people were quick when I came home, and I would say, "Oh yeah, we went over to the UK and Ireland." They go, Ireland's not part of the UK. And I'm like, I know that. That's why I said, and Ireland.
Yes, I know. It can be a real sticky point.
And they're such small countries and they're so close
I
together.
know, it's crazy because even for us, so we're from just outside Belfast in Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, but a lot of my family lives in Galway in the south of Ireland. And so, I mean, you're traveling 3.5 hours, but do you change currency? You change, the road. I mean, we all drive on the same side of the road, but like it goes from miles to kilometers. It's just and you're going, this is such a small island. It's so small, but we're real stubborn.
My mom's family came from Galway.
Really?
Yeah.
Galway. So I actually just took, so my kids are now up a little bit. And so touring around is much, much easier. And so we went to Galway City, and I always say to people here coming to Ireland, Dublin's fine. It's good, but go to Galway because that's just the essence of Ireland, the cobbled streets, the music playing, it's right by, the sea, and it's just lovely, really, really lovely. And you really get that Irish feel a lot more than what I would say in Dublin.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get a chance to go to Galway. We did get to go to Dublin, and we had a wonderful time. I felt like I called my daughter and I said, you guys should come over here because it has a real nice energy. It's safe, and there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, no, it's a great country and all for that. Even Belfast, from what it's been through, I mean, it feels so safe there. And I actually took my kids this summer. There was obviously a lot of fighting and troubles in Belfast, and I showed them the big Freedom Wall, or the what they call the Peace Wall, which is a 40-foot height wall, which they had to stop the Protestants and Catholics fighting at nighttime. And, it's all graffitied now, and everyone comes and they sign it. And my kids, they signed the wall, but just to show them, like, this city's been through a lot, and we can come now and we can enjoy it and have its great food and listen to the amazing music. And it's so pedestrian friendly, which I absolutely love. And the people are just wonderful. Like they really are. And I'm like, yeah, but it's come from a hard time for sure.
Sure. Yeah. We visited the Titanic Museum.
Oh, yeah.
And what a great museum that was.
Yeah, they did a great job with it, right? Yeah. My dad has the t-shirt, the Titanic, built by the Irishman, sunk by the Englishman. So I'm like, it's just a point of pride.
So tell me, how does it feel now? For years, you're a member of Rend Collective, a fantastic recording group, and your husband's still in the band. But you've come off the road. I think we talked about it primarily to take care of your kids. How is it? How's that transition from traveling musician to solo author gone for you?
Lovely. It's so, I mean, there's aspects of the road that I miss. And actually my eldest son talks about it a little bit because he grew up on the road since he was 6 weeks old, until just a few years ago. And, one thing that I really focused on coming off the road was cultivating community and going, these kids are used to, like, not just being with me all the time, but being and moving in a community of people. And so that I made a real point of here in Nashville, making sure we had plenty of friends and places to go and did things as a community together, because I just feel like that puts a lot into your kids, even from social etiquette and teaching them how to communicate effectively and, think about other people before themselves of going, oh, well, you wanted to do this, but the majority of the group wants to do this, so we're going to do that, But it's been so nice not having the packing, moving all the time. I mean, I remember a lot just living in a little bit of dread, going, oh, this is going to be crazy, we're going to be exhausted. And it was really exhausting constantly being on the move. So being somewhere where you can control your environment, you can do your laundry when you need to do laundry, you can have a clean, fresh shower, has been really nice. And so the kids are thriving. They're doing really well. They're in school now, which is also very helpful. I'm not homeschooling anymore. And yeah, it gives me the opportunity to write books and explore that and play some pickleball.
I don't think people understand really what goes on in a tour for either a band or a circus or any kind of show. It's we get to walk in, sit down, and look at the show, and 2 hours later we're out the door and back on our way home. But for people on tour, the band, the crew, it's that constant thing. You arrive, first thing in the morning. You start setting up for the 7 p.m. show at 6 in the morning. Yeah. And you go all day. And then at the end of the show, it's back on the bus and maybe 8 hours to the next town.
That's right. That's what I would say. It's constantly moving. Even to, to brush your teeth or do the very simple things that you shouldn't have to think about. You have to go, I have to search my suitcase to bring that down. Don't wake anybody else up while I'm trying, because I'm up early with the kids. And, you can only put the water on for when you need it. And so you're doing that. And then you're packing that away, making sure the place is clear for, because you're living in community. You can't make a mess, can't leave things out. And yeah, and then you're trying to homeschool and feed the kids. And it's just, it was a lot. It's a lot. And I've actually chatted and mentored some girls who are wanting to bring their kids on the road. And I'm like, if you can do it right, if you have the money and you have the ability to do it a certain way, it can be wonderful. It can be great. But in terms of full time, I often say, I'm like, if you don't have to, I wouldn't do it. It's really, really hard going for sure. Yeah.
You mentioned community, and I think that's such an important thing. I grew up in the city, and we knew everybody. Yeah. We knew the guy who ran the store, and I literally, all my relatives live within a mile of each other, and so I was constantly getting whacked in the back of the head by someone seeing me do something dopey, and I complain, and they go, "I'm your cousin." I'm like, "Oh, never." But, it's so much different these days. I remember an instant my daughter was over visiting one of her friends when she was a teenager, and they were cooking something and they needed some butter, and her friend lived in an apartment building, and my daughter said, "Why don't you go ask your neighbor, if you borrow some butter?" And the kid's like, I have no idea who those people are. I don't know anybody here. And it was so my daughter did it because she's knock on the door. But kids aren't growing up with the same sense of community that we had just a generation or two ago.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of that as well is down to living environments. Long time ago, people weren't so worried about the boundaries of the house or putting the fences up or this is my property and this is my family and I keep it in here, and you can be invited round, but it's a specific time that you'll be invited round, and it'll be organized, and it all. Where I grew up the same with you. It was a very, someone just popped in, someone just came by, and of course we have enough food. Like, yeah, let's put another burger on, and that's why I always operated. And particularly with our house, like people come in and out all the time, and my kids are very used to that. But there's also a lot of fear in the world now. I mean, we live 2 miles from downtown Nashville, and so there still has to be a little bit of being careful of going, hey, you don't just talk to strangers. You have to have, I think as well, but teaching kids discernment in that and a little bit of wisdom and going, hey, I don't want you to go through your life living in fear, constantly thinking like stranger danger, like there is a way of discerning that and being wise and how you operate that. But yeah, we know we're very fortunate. We know all our neighbors here, and anytime I run out of anything, we're popping it. I'm like, Arthur, go 2 doors down. They'll definitely have lemons or limes or sugar or whatever we need. So we're very fortunate, but it helped. I think Nashville as well is very good at that. I don't know whether it's because it's more southern or there is something here in community where we're used to people coming and going in and out of the city. There's a lot of artists here in all formats. And so we realize, hey, when you're home, you kind of need to make an effort to get to know people, and or else you get stuck in an isolation.
Yeah. Now, Rend Collective, people who may be familiar, is a Christian recording band. Mm-hmm. Somebody's listening to this and they don't have a Christian faith tradition or any faith tradition. What can you tell them? Because they might say, oh, well, Ali's in that Christian band and, she's in that world, and Keeping the Light, that's probably a Christian book. I don't want to bring it into my house. Talk to that person, please.
Yeah. Well, for me, those are the people. I mean, I wrote these books for everybody. I did not write kids books for the church or for Christians. I wrote kids books for kids all over the world, no matter who they are, where they come from, or what background. And I would say I'm always conscious about my books leaving kids with being, hey, let's be kind to each other. Let's be yourself. Let's not judge. It's like these very broad, themes. And of course, like part of it, like with the church, you can take the lighthouse as being a symbol of Jesus, or if you're not part of the church, it can be just a symbol of hope for you, or a higher power, or something that you believe in that gives you that ability to go, actually, I'm going to be kind to that person. I'm going to open the door. I'm going to go into school and not worry about what all these other people say about me as a kid, and going, I'm just going to go and be myself because no one else gets to do that. And so, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We can all team together. We can all love each other. We can show kindness and grace. And that doesn't just have to be part of the Christian church. So, yeah. So these books, they don't mention the name of Jesus. They don't mention church. They don't mention any of those things. And so I actually did that on purpose, because I'm like, I want these books to be in schools. I want them to be in hospitals. I want them to be everywhere, just going that you can pick up the story and it can spark something within you that, of where you're at right there and then.
Yeah, I agree. And I that's why I loved reading My Lighthouse to my Finn. And I'm sure I'm going to love reading Keeping the Light. Is there a third adventure that Finn is going to join us on?
I hope so. I haven't started writing that yet. I'm sort of waiting to see what the publishers want to do. I have a Christmas story in the works.
Oh, great.
It's basically a star that's paranoid she's getting followed by three men. Yeah, I'm like, so going along that sort of theme, which I think is, I'm trying to dig into the therapy world a little bit, and all of that, which is, but in a really fun, super, super positive way. But yeah, I would love the Finn story to keep going. And if anybody has an idea of like, hey, what about Finn did this, or what about Finn did that, I would love to hear it. And just keep it going. So hopefully.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's remind everybody where they can go to find out more about Keeping the Light and find out more about you.
Yes, you can go to my website, aligilkeson.com. You can get the book at any major bookstores or online, Amazon, Targets, Barnes & Noble, the whole works. And yeah, it comes out in September 22nd, and I'm so excited.
Wonderful. We've had a great time speaking to the author of Keeping the Light. Our guest has been New York Times bestselling author Ali Gilkeson. Hey, Ali, thanks for being back on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Are you looking for a creative way to bond with your kids? Let me tell you all about Drawing with Your Kids, the ultimate destination for artistic adventures. Join us as we dive into the wonderful world of children's books with renowned illustrators guiding you step by step. From beloved characters to whimsical scenes, unleash your imagination and create cherished memories together. Whether you're a seasoned artist or just picking up a pencil, there's something for everyone at Drawing with Your Kids. Please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com, and click on the Drawing with Your Kids link at the top of the page and let the creativity flow. Drawing with Your Kids, where every stroke brings stories to life. Join us right now from Sydney in the wonderful nation of Australia. Our guest is here today to celebrate her debut middle grade novel. It's called Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines. Please welcome to the show, Maria O'Connor. Hey, Maria, how are you?
Hi, I am absolutely excited and fabulous. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Delighted to have you on. Maria was sharing with me that it is the first day of spring down under. And so we're very excited for you for that.
It is, yeah, and it's really turned on. It's gone from quite cold to the sun coming out and the birds are singing and it's warm. So we don't hold back with the heat here in Australia.
That's fantastic. Now tell me, before we jump into talking about the book, Australia, I know you have a winter, but does it ever snow like in a city like Sydney or Melbourne or...
Oh, look, I wish. No, we do get snow, but it's mainly in the snowy mountains down south or sometimes in the Blue Mountains, which is not far from here. But unfortunately, it just gets really cold and rainy in Sydney.
Okay. So tell us about Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines.
Yes. So as we know, this is my debut book. It's not to say that it's the first time I've written. As an individual, I've always had that ability to weave a story. Especially when I was a child, I, used to tell some really big stories. So it's always been part of me. And now I felt was the right time. It just all aligned and the story just came to me. So Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines is a book about the journey of a young teenage girl of 14, Elena, our character. And she's grown up in this magical world of couture with her nonna in the atelier. And she has this beautiful relationship with her nonna. But she's now approaching that beautiful age where she's discovering there's a whole world out there. And we travel with her in this little story, a journey of her self-discovery, about her finding her magic and working out how to move forward in life. So her nonna's very special because she is a little bit of a crazy character. She does very whimsical things. She loves to play. She loves to dance. And Elena is observant of that and watching her, and she would like to be like that. So it's how she watches her nonna and how they integrate. And she does go through some ups and downs throughout the book. It is set in the 80s, a time that I'm very familiar with. I was growing up in the 80s, but I feel like it's a great time to be a little bit nostalgic in that going back in that time, which was a little bit simpler than it is now for children, it's a great way for them to escape and to witness how life was then and just to be in a space where it feels a lot simpler than it is now. Because I do recognize, as I've watched my own children growing up, that they need to escape from all the noise that's going on. So this is just a little outline of what the book is. I don't want to give all of it away.
That's fine. Yeah.
But it is very magical. And the feedback I've had so far is that I've had people that I know that are my age group who are reading this book and absolutely surprised by the fact that they are actually remembering their childhood and discovering their magic. So it's giving them the opportunity to be able to reminisce and reset almost. So one reader said to me that she feels it's a book for all ages. And I feel that that's great, especially for a parent, because you have that opportunity to be able to read the book alongside with your child and share the journey together. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, you bring up some great points. We definitely encourage families to continue to read with their kids as they become independent readers. There certainly is lots of value to sit down and actually read aloud with your middle grade readers and your teenage readers, but that's not always something that's easy to do. So reading a middle grade novel with your kid, picking up 2 copies of the book and reading it together and then coming together to talk about it over dinner or on the way to soccer or ballet practice is a lot of fun. You mentioned that Elena is 14 years old, and I think, since I was never a 14-year-old girl, I think being 14, that those early teen years are especially difficult for girls. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
I can. And I as a mother and my own journey, have recognized that at 14, and nowadays actually it's happening earlier, but as a child, you are, what's the word? You feel invincible. You love the things that you're doing and you don't sort of question anything. But then when you get to 14, a lot changes. A lot changes physically, mentally, and externally for young girls. And now more than ever, I'm seeing that with everything that's filtering into them, there is this sort of situation where they're starting to question, who they are and if they're enough. And what the book brings out is that you are enough and that you already know who you are. So it's returning the focus back to self and remembering that you're magical and moving forward with that magic. That's what I hope to encourage. But this is what inspired me to write from this angle. It's not to say that I've seen that in young boys, because I have a son as well, where there's this questioning and almost like they shrink because they don't feel they're fitting in anywhere. But I'm hoping that we build the resilience so that when they approach that age, they fly and they bring to the world what we need, because I feel that the more that there is that confidence, the more light that there is to shine from within. So, yeah, it is a difficult age. I recognize that, yeah. Even in the 80s, like back when I was 14 to now, I feel not much has changed as far as that journey, but a lot has changed. Obviously, they're bombarded with a lot more now, where it was simpler then, yeah.
Yeah. The book is set kind of in the world of fashion, or at least fashion adjacent?
Yes, it is. And I guess that was, a personal thing, because I can relate to it. I grew up in that beautiful time when there was still black and white movies, and you'd see the beautiful ladies, Hollywood, with the beautiful dresses and the red lipstick, and the men were in suits. And that, even though storytelling was my first passion, that lured me. And so I'm very familiar with the fashion world. And I think a lot of young girls are attracted to couture, or they're attracted to that beauty of fashion at that age. So it does speak to them. It does resonate with a lot of young girls, going through that period of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, you were mentioning it's a little bit noisier. I know, as somebody who was already grown in the 80s, that there was a lot of pressure back then on especially girls to kind of fit in and have the new fashion of the trend, and I think that pressure has only been magnified through things like social media. And I know I took a media literacy course back in the early 2000s, And at that time, it was believed that kids were exposed to like maybe 3,000 messages a day, either a billboard or music or a commercial or whatnot. Whereas today, I would guess that kids are exposed to many thousands more messages every day between social media and television and music is everywhere. And that is a lot for a kid.
It is. It is. And I recently visited the local school for Book Week, and that age group was from kindergarten to year 6. In Australia, it's like the age of about 5 to about 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that this was a message that is needed, because when I read to them from the book, they went into a different world and they separated from that exposure that you're talking about. They totally detached and they embraced the activity. And so all of this influx of, noise that they're getting, I believe is what's drowning out them being able to hear who they are.
Yeah.
And it is definitely very loud at the moment. So being able to read takes you out of yourself and brings you into that space where you're in another world, and you start to think about what you feel in relation to what's going on. And that's just not my opinion. That's what I'm getting the feedback, is that they're being removed, and, they're visibly excited by the story. Yeah. So it's not that children aren't that anymore, that they don't want to read or they don't want to do. It's more that they do, but they need our help as adults to, bring that to them more than the social media aspect that is drowning out that ability to feel. Yeah.
One of the things I love about Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines is the intergenerational friendship between Elena and her grandmother. I can't stop, really celebrating intergenerational friendships. Me and my grandmother were great friends, and we just love spending time with each other and talking with each other. And kids don't always have that opportunity.
No.
And I think it's a real shame, because I think a lot of kids could use somebody that has more experience, but also has reached the point that Nana has reached in her life. Me and some friends, we recently celebrated our 50th reunion from high school.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was with 2 other friends, and one of them was marveling at how I'm able to get up on stage and perform, and my other friend is a lawyer and was able to get up and, litigate in front of jury and court reporters and witnesses and whatnot. And he was saying, I don't know. I can't imagine being able to do that. And how do you do that? And both me and my lawyer friend said, you just can't care about what other people think. And I think as we get older, that is one of the gifts of getting older, is learning not to care what people think. Yeah. and what a beautiful gift that is to give to a 14-year-old.
It is unbelievably invaluable. It really is. That relationship. I'm starting to understand that. I've recently become a grandmother. My granddaughter is 2. Thank you. And I never understood what they meant when they said that, the relationship of a grandmother is completely different. And it is. When you're a parent, you have a role to grow this child. When you're a grandparent, you just share who you are, and they absolutely connect with you as, me as Maria. Yep. And so we do things potentially that the parent can't because of pressure and responsibility. And I think a 14-year-old will, they get to that stage where they're looking at their parents and they're thinking, do you really know what you're doing? And they start to question, that relationship. But for some reason, grandparents represent different stability and they admire them in a different way because there's no pressure there to be anything. It's just to be, like in this instance, it's Elena being Elena and Nonna being Nonna and just enjoying each other's company. And that guidance for a teenager, they need us. They need, people to guide them because they are a little lost. And so I agree. It is this beautiful connection. And it is a different time as well. So, often grandparents will tell you about, well, my grandparents grew up in the wartime and things like that. So there's different struggles that they had. And often you'll sit there and think, wow, how did they get through that? And look at them now. And so there's this awe in the relationship, which you obviously can relate to. My nonna, when I was little, would make me, she's Italian, she would make me this green, what the Italians call scalora, which is like endive. It's the most bitter vegetable you could eat, but she believed it was good, right? So she'd do it in a little pot with garlic and olive oil, and I would have been 3 or 4, and I would sit there and eat it and smile and love it. My mother tried to do that, and I was like, no, I'm not eating that. So this is the power of grandparents, they have this magical ability to bring you into this space where you feel, that you can completely go there and you love what they do, and everything they do is, I'm using the word magical, which is exactly how my experience was.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're giving kids a glimpse into what life was like back 40 more years ago.
I know.
And, my kid, when I'm doing my educational magic shows, oftentimes if I feel a little mischievous, I'll talk to the kids about how I grew up and we only had 3 channels that we could watch on TV. And if we wanted to speak on the phone, we had to stand next to the wall where the phone was, and we can only move as far as that cord would allow us. And heaven, for my goodness, when we watched TV, there was only 2 colors, black and white. And, you hear the kids just go, oh.
I know. It's just, and in some ways they're horrified, but in other ways they're curious.
Yes.
Because it is, and at the moment I've noticed there is a lot of that on social media about the 80s. Because I think that actually represents the last era before technology exploded.
Yeah.
And I can remember, you're going to laugh, I can remember being in year 10 and we had this minuscule little room in the library, and they brought us in a small group and said, they had those big box computers on the desk and said, one day we will be able to communicate via the computer and there'll be an internet where you'll be able to, send emails. They were talking about it. And I remember sitting there and laughing and thinking, oh, no way. Like, that's how innocent I was. And obviously my generation was to what was coming.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, the 80s represents the last frontier of simplicity before everything took off. And that's another reason, it's special to me because I grew up in that I was a teen in the 80s. And, with iconic movies like Sweet 16 and 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, it's just such an iconic time. And I think there's curiosity there as well for the younger children.
Why did you decide to write this book at this stage in your life?
Well, that is a very good question. I actually resigned from my career. I had burnout, and I'd reached a point where I felt like the pressures were too much and I wasn't heading in the right direction. And so I took a year off. And my publisher laughs at this because she said there are no coincidences. But I stumbled across this course on how to publish your book. And it's called the Book Doula Program. And it's all about birthing your book. And Though I remember saying we had to, in the first lesson, say what our intention was. And I said, well, I'm here now. I'll see, because I've always written, and I'll see what I can do. And I'm an intuitive writer. And honestly, the book just started coming. And as I started diving into that, which obviously is my calling, it just started happening, and I could see the book evolving. I think divinely it was the right time. I think in life everything happens at the right time, and I think it was just the right time, and I'd accumulated enough to go forward in that area, and I haven't looked back.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now that Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines is out in the world, are you planning on writing more books?
I am, yes. I don't think this is the end of Elena. This morning I actually was cooking porridge, because this is how I write, and it was like I had a little tap on my shoulder. You need to write this down. So I had to drop everything. It was such an urgent moment as a writer, and I'm down there because I write old school. I'm on pen. I love writing on pads, and I've got them everywhere, and I started just jotting ideas down. So I think what's happened is I've opened up the floodgates to writing now. I do know that I'm in my happy place, and I've found, as I said to my publisher, Vanessa, I feel like I've come home to where I need to be. Awesome. Because I feel like after the experiences I've had over the past couple of weeks with expressing the idea of finding your magic and realizing that adults and children are just soaking that up, I've realized that it is my calling to talk about that and to spread that around, that joy, that playfulness, that magic. So I have this jar, and it's all the good things that happen in 2025. So every time I have a good moment, I write it down, put it on a sticky note, and throw it in the jar. So now I've started throwing ideas for books in the jar because, they come, and I'm like, okay, that's a good one, and in the jar you go. So yeah, definitely writing more.
What a great idea for authors, but also what a great activity to do with our kids. That every time something good happens, write it down, throw it in the jar, and eventually the kids are going to see how full it is getting, because we always tend to focus on the bad.
Correct.
You can have as an author, as a creative, you can have 100 positive reviews, but that one negative review is the one that sticks in your head and that you can't get rid of. And if you had that jar or as a parent, if your kid's coming home and is upset and something's going on, it's like, today that's not a good thing, but come on over here. Look, this just happened this year. Oh, look at all those things in there.
Correct. It came to me, this is kind of a weird thing to say, but New Year's Eve to me was always like, okay. And then last New Year's Eve, I was like, well, maybe I should start doing this so that when I get to the end of the year, I can have that moment on New Year's Eve where I undo all the happy moments of the year. And you do get a sense of gratitude. It's not just about being happy. It's about realizing that, yes, difficult things happen, because difficult things do happen, but there are a lot of good things that happen. Right. And as a family, I think that would be a wonderful tradition.
Yeah. Because
families do struggle. I talk to a lot of families that have got a multitude of things going on, with difficulty with their children learning, or there's grandparents that aren't well. There's lots of things that happen. And I think rather than focusing, and don't get me wrong, it's party and everything, but also stopping at the end of the year and being like, we had a difficult time, but look what we did have, and celebrating that, and maybe documenting it with a photo or whatever. But it's definitely, I can't wait. I haven't touched mine.
Well, we should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about magical dreams and sewing machines and find out more about you.
Okay, so look, me at the moment, I'm on Instagram under maria.creatingmagicalstories.
Okay.
Please jump on there and follow me because I am constantly on there talking, showing everyone what I'm doing. I'm not just about the book. It is about the book, but it's why I wrote the book and how I integrate that into society. So, you know, going to schools or whatever. And then to actually purchase the book, you can do that through Healing House Publishing, which is an Australian publisher. You can do it through Amazon US, Booktopia. I've actually, if you go on my Instagram, I've actually just posted a post that says where you can find this magical book, and underneath I've listed all of the places that you can purchase the book worldwide. So there's quite a few.
That's
I don't want to take up the time. But I will be launching a website, but I want that to be I'm very thoughtful about how I'm going to do the website. So that will be in 2026. But at the moment, I'm on Instagram, live and bold.
Wonderful. We've had a really great time speaking to the author of Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines. It's the debut middle grade novel from our guest, Maria O'Connor. Maria, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I could talk to you all day, Jed.
Well, you have a great rest of your day, and maybe I'll make it into the jar. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Reading with Your Kids. If you are an author of a great children's book, or if you know an author of a great children's book, please visit readingwithyourkids.com. We'd love to hear from you, and if you go to readingwithyourkids.com, you can click on the Authors Click Here button up at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest on the show. Being a guest is fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of children's book fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. We'd love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram, and at Jedly Magic on X. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to share it with your friends. Leave a 5-star review and subscribe. It really does help us grow. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Ali Gilkeson. Please be sure to check out Keeping the Light. Also want to thank Maria O'Connor. Please be sure to check out Magical Dreams and Sewing Machines. I want to thank my incredible team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, every single one of us here at Reading With Your Kids, we want to thank you. Every time you read with your kids, you're creating magic and making the world a better place. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
Take Graham's hand, we're ready to go into the dinosaur forest where tall trees grow. I'm brave and bold, she laughs.